I don't know if there was any game more shocking, Rob, than New Orleans and Green Bay. 38-3, New Orleans, 10 new starters, Jameis Winston in now for Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers and the Packers just didn't show up, Rob. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to say this quickly, and then, I want to hear your viewpoint. You just can't. I'm not predicting doom for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's the great Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure he's going to bounce back and play well. But he won the offseason, Rob. He won I know there were some that even I at times felt like, man, what are you doing? But overall, he had people looking at Brian Gutekunst like, dude, this is crazy. He's Aaron Rodgers. He had, people saying you got to start giving him some say in the personnel. Not that he's running the team, but they listen to Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Now they're listening to Russell Wilson in Seattle. You had coaches on TV saying, heck, I'd run something by my quarterback when I coached, of course. And they weren't nearly as good as Aaron Rodgers. You won the offseason. You go back to Green Bay, and they offer you a contract extension. Gutekunst signs Randall Cobb to appease you. You do a 30-minute press conference, unlike anything we've seen since practice. We talking about practice. Allen Iverson. I mean, it was great. You won the offseason, and you can't show up in your first game after that and do what you did. Horrible. And again, I'm not saying he's done. I mean, he's far from done, I'm sure. But that was a bad one, Rob. The interceptions, the two, because, obviously Rodgers is a guy that doesn't throw interceptions. So for him to throw two, I know he's done it before, but for him to throw two that were completely out of character for him. Like the first one in the red zone, I mean, just totally behind the receiver. And the last one was just a heave, almost like a Hail Mary. But the first one, they were only down 17-3. They scored there. Now it's a ball game. So I'll give him credit. He did he mentioned they were looking for a whole different, strategy from the Saints, and they didn't get it, and they never adjusted. So he kind of threw some of that on the coaching staff. But overall, I thought he owned it. He said, I played bad. He took ownership of the last two interceptions. So I'll give him credit for that. But, Rob, I'm just saying, after you demand an offseason in which you demand a trade, you skip the offseason program, you try out for the host of Jeopardy, you think about playing for other teams, you contemplate retirement, you show up to the practice facility for training camp with the aura of the savior. Oh, I'm here now. The savior's here. You have that huge press conference in which you throw the franchise under the bus. Then you do the sit down with our own Aaron Andrews here at Fox Sports, and you say, I don't feel like I have anything left to prove on the field. You can't go out and have that type of game on week one.
Yeah, I mean, what's the right word? The optics.
Right.
Optics don't look good. And I could see where people would make a big deal about it. I mean, he could have come out and played well, and then obviously people wouldn't bring up all that stuff because it doesn't matter. But if you don't if you don't practice and you don't play, I just think there's a reason why you have practice. There's a reason why you go over things. I mean, and I'm not there's no excuse here. He owned everything, which is fine. He played as poorly as you can play. But I remember Michael Jordan coming back. Chris, you remember at the end to play Orlando in the playoffs, and he didn't play like the whole season.
After he came back from baseball, right?
Right, and he got beat, right? And he didn't look good, right? Because you
best
can't,
player ever, and he didn't
didn't look good. I remember him getting the ball stripped. Right. At half court.
He had big numbers if you look at that, but you're right. He got stripped. It wasn't Michael Jordan.
That's not Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
Jordan.
Right. It just wasn't him, and I think you can't cheat the game from that standpoint. Now, the other part is, before everybody, and I'm not saying that's you, but, the sky is falling, he has a stinker, Chris, almost every year. I don't know what it is. That game last year, remember they were 4-0. They go to Tampa. They were up 10-0, and then they fall apart.
Right.
16 for 35, 160 yards.
He was bad in that
no
game,
touchdowns, 2 picks in that game. Then I remember also 2019, he had 2 bad ones in California. Remember, they won 13 games that year. 2 losses were both in California to the 49ers. He had 104 yards, Chris, 1 TD. 104 yards, 1 TD, no picks. And then that Chargers game, again, 161 yards and 1 touchdown, no picks. And you could go back to even 2017 and 2016, bad games against the Panthers, 3 interceptions in that game. How many games has he thrown 3 interceptions? And in 2016, he had 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks against the Giants. So all I'm saying is, he's good for a stinker. No one would have. I'm surprised it came in game 1, but given what you talked about and him not doing much with the team or preseason games, and remember, people are keeping players out of preseason now and whatnot. And I don't know if that's going to be.
These dudes aren't prepared. Not just him, but you saw.
No, you've seen it across the league, Chris.
Yeah.
Even Buffalo with that offense, did they look like they were a well-oiled machine? I didn't think so.
Not at all.
So I'm saying, I look at this as bad day at the office. He'll have to regroup and get himself back together for week 2, and they'll get better. That team is way better than that. And good for Jameis Winston. Weird 5 touchdowns and only 148 yards. But he had a great game. No fumbles, Chris. No interceptions for Jameis. And he played great. So good for him. But if you're the Packers, you got to start from scratch and get this thing righted, because they just didn't appear to be like they never got off that plane when they got to Florida.
No, not at all. And I what this does, Rob, and like I expect him to back up and get himself together and start playing. Well, he even admitted he said it was the whole team, but he was asked about you guys kind of essentially take these guys lightly or not take the Saints, but just kind of get big-headed because the way you 13-3 the last 2 years, and he admitted it. He said we've been to 2 NFC title games back to back, and you kind of get out there and you think it's just gonna automatically flow, and this was a good kick in the what. That's a direct quote.
They've won 26 games the last 2 years, Chris.
Right,
I mean, regular season games.
I think he probably felt that way as much as anybody, Rob, because again, he showed the way he showed up. He didn't, wasn't with the team in the offseason at all. Obviously, he's out, and it's every right for the player to go out and enjoy themselves in the offseason and all that. But he just, it was so much going on. And what he
was
does,
detached.
Rob,
he was detached.
Yeah, he was detached.
I think that's the right word.
Some people are going to want. I'm not ready to go there yet. If I see this, for the next few weeks, then I may. But it does open yourself up to people wondering, are you all in? You've heard some people say, Rob, once you consider retirement, you know what I mean? Now you're thinking, and he says he was considering it. He was looking at life after football, and this is a game, man, you have to be all in. And so until he rights himself, which could be next week against Detroit, I mean, that's certainly the prescription. That's just what the doctor ordered. I'll tell you that.
If you saw what the 49ers did before they tried to choke it down at the end, I don't know what that was. But they ran roughshod over the line.
Right.
I mean,
Detroit looked all right early, I thought, the offense, but
we talked about Dan
bad.
Campbell and Chris, all the goofy stuff. He's better get it together, man, because
no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But people will wonder, are you all in? And so we will see, but it was a bad first game, 15 for 28. 2 picks, no touchdowns. So we will see if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers bounce back.